to separate between the whisperings that comes from the nafs, the inner self, the nafsani ones, from those whisperings that come externally, the shaitani ones, from shaitan. Our belief is that whisperings, they come from both of these sources. There's an internal one and there's an external one. And our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would seek refuge in Allah from both of them in one dua. He would say, Allahumma alim al-ghaybi wa shahada. O Allah, knower of the seen and the unseen. Fatir as-samawati wal-ard, creator of the heavens and the earth. Rabba kulli shay'in wa malika, you are the Lord of all things and their master. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, I testify that none has the right to be worshipped but you. Listen, a'udhu bika min sharri nafsi, I seek refuge in you from the evil of myself. Wa min sharri shaytani wa shirki, and I seek refuge in you from shaitan and his calls to disbelief. So he identifies that the sources of whisperings are both shaitan and an internal one which is called the nafs. And here we're going to say to the OCD client, you are to separate between a whispering that comes from yourself and a whispering that comes from shaitan. You have to realize the difference between them, and we'll show you how. Our belief as Muslims is that there is a metaphysically distinct creature brought into existence by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His perfect wisdom, who is an open enemy to man, and his nickname is shaitan and his name is Iblis. And he flows through the body of human beings like the flowing of blood. That is different to the nafs. That's an external whisperer, and this is where the danger resides. The danger here is that we have a tendency to conflate between the external and the internal whisperer. We're unable to differentiate between our thoughts and the external ones that are not our thoughts. Much of what we assumed were our thoughts were in fact somebody else's thoughts put into us. But shaitan, he is able to hide very cleverly behind the veil of I. Me. When you say I, who are you talking about? Who are you referring to? Most of the thoughts that you thought were your own, they come from an external source, they're not yours. And if those thoughts are not yours, then there is no need to fear them and there's no need to believe them. They don't have to be true if they are not your thoughts. You see, shaitan has been part of our journey as human beings in the life of this world for so long. Since the day you were born, shaitan prodded you and I, and that's why we wept, as if to say, my battle with you begins now. And he stays by your side till the day you pass away. So shaitan has been next to us for so long, and he's been whispering for so long, that we're now unable to differentiate between his whisperings and our inner whisperings. We don't know the difference anymore, but there is a difference. When you realize the difference, this is very empowering. Why? Because it enables decoupling. What does decoupling mean? To separate between things. So rather than saying, I have disbelieved, I've thought of a blasphemous statement, I have disbelieved, you decouple it. You say, no, you have disbelieved, O shaitan, and you're trying to convince me that I have as well, and I haven't. This is not my voice, somebody else's voice. Shaitan says to you, you say, my wudu is incomplete, my prayer is deficient. You say, no, this is shaitan who is saying to me, my prayer is incomplete, my wudu is deficient. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. This realization that the source of your darkest thoughts have come from a different source is very liberating. It's very therapeutic. It's the lifting of a burden immensely and instantly gives relief in the heart of someone who is suffering with these thoughts, in that the source of these thoughts are from someone else, and therefore they don't have to be true. Don't have to believe them. Shaitan does not come to you and say, you are worthless. You are worthless. You say, I am worthless. I'm a bad person. And he's able to hide behind that I, to make it think that it is you who is thinking these thoughts, but it's not yours. It's like when you're walking through the street. You're walking on city road somewhere, coming to the masjid, and someone says to you, Oi, terrorist! Oi, terrorist, is that a bomb under your jacket? Ask you a question, when you hear that, do you start doubting your status, whether you're a terrorist or not? You don't. You don't. Why? Because you recognize it's the voice of an external hater. It's the voice of an external hater, so it doesn't have to be true. Similarly, when you have these blasphemous thoughts that I am a disbeliever, my salah is deficient, I have divorced my wife, you don't have to believe it. It doesn't have to be true, because you recognize it's not yours. It's somebody else's thought. It's understanding this concept releases you from the tyranny of maybe, I think, perhaps. Yeah? And it brings you to certainty. So you need to see the difference between the two.